Welcome back. There are just two topics of conversation in Melbourne right now. Which team will win the flag and who will take out the coveted Brownlow medal for the AFL's best and fairest? One of the hot favourites is Collingwood's Mick McGuane.
Last year he played just a handful of games, but in '92 the boy from Ballarat is definitely on a mission. His inspiration is the tragic death late last year of his teammate Darren Millane. As Anne-Marie Sparkman reports, the 24-year-old McGuane is determined to dedicate his best season ever to the memory of his mate.
Give me 10 hard. Diggy. Well, give me some. Eva, give me some.
I said to Mick, I said, well, if you can stand the pain, I've got the time. He realises what he's got to do. He's come at the crossroads like all young men do in life, and he's grabbed the bit between the teeth and he's gone on with the challenge.
Ever the creative player, loves to run with it, 2 bounces, he's carried it.
In football, there is much talk of the hard ball. This year, Mick McGuane has taken almost permanent possession of it, holding in his heart a legacy left by his Collingwood teammate and friend, Darren Millane. The man they call the Raging Bull, suddenly tragically killed in a car crash last October.
The effect he had, or the loss that Darren had on a lot of people, was just unbelievable. Not only the players, but also the supporters and just the general public as a whole. And, you know, it did take a long, long time for the realisation of him not to be about the club, to realise that he, you know, had died. And
thousands came to mourn, the same thousands of fanatical fans who were there in 1990, when Collingwood finally won a premiership after waiting for 32 years. The celebrations lasted for weeks, the hangover even longer. Last year, both Millane and McGuane had pretty ordinary seasons, and when the Magpies missed the finals, they made a pact to toughen up physically and mentally, to plough back into training. Ray Giles took on the job.
They were both training with an absolute venom, and they did feed off one another. They were very, very good for one, and very good for the place in general. You know, for everybody here, their enthusiasm was infectious.
When Darren died, McGuane carried on.
Never trust a bloke with experience, Anne-Marie. Keeps throwing at you.
No, you're getting older, you don't get cunning with it. Well, they say age and cunning will always beat youth and experience.
I know Darren was training as hard as anybody possibly could with Gilesy, and I think someone had to put their hand up in the can and hopefully try to take his place, and that's the avenue I tried to take this year.
Tony Shaw had a brilliant first half. Oh, courage shown by McGuane. A magnificent mark. But it's a beauty on the McGuane. McGuane 45 metres out, directly in front, scores a ripper goal.
The inspiration is such that Mick is now a certainty to win the Copeland, the Collingwood best and fairest, and one of the favourites for the game's ultimate accolade, the Brownlow medal. This year, he's combined consistency with class.
Athletically, he doesn't look anything special. He's always got the pale skin. He certainly hasn't got the bulging muscles. He seems to have an aversion to the weight room, so he's never spent a lot of time on getting his upper body strength up to what it maybe could be. But I think of class players as players who can pick the right option and then deliver the ball where they want to deliver it. And really, that's Mick's greatest strength.
Find the target, Trammer, find the target here.
In a team that has made an art form of winning tight finishes, the born-again McGuane is literally leading the way.
People that commit themselves to the best level of sport they can possibly play, they're putting themselves on the line on a week-to-week basis, and in all honesty, I couldn't live with myself if I went back to the country 30, 35 years of age and said, well, I could have done this, or if I did this, you know, the great alibi if.
But as passionate as Mick is about his footy, he has another great love, gambling.
Oh, we're a chance here. We're a chance with the bullets. Oh.
This week he tried out the new poker machines at the club, but the boy from the bush really loves to hang out at racetracks.
All I can remember about Mick is him with a form guide in his hand. You know, as a young kid, I mean, you know, he'd have his training gear and that'd consist of a pair of socks. He'd always probably forget his shorts and he'd have a form guide. So in his back pocket. But
Still, for this down-to-earth, likeable larrikin, gambling is just about his last vice. Part of the sacrifice this year was to stop drinking. When news of that reached the boys back home in Ballarat, they were in shock. The Sebastopol superstar on the wagon. What next?
I think it surprised a few people. It didn't surprise me because I know he's very determined. He's never once in his life said to me that he's going to do something and hasn't done it.
Brian McGuane coached his boy in the under-10s. When others said he was a born cricketer, Mickey ignored them. He just wanted to play for his beloved Magpies. After all, his dad had put a footy under his pillow when he was just a baby. And as he was growing up, he'd make his sister Susie stand out in the backyard for hours, playing kick to kick.
And I was never allowed to go inside until I executed a perfect drop punt or torpedo. So I'd be out there till dusk and then, you know, and then we'd go inside and...
And on Saturday afternoon, the whole family would drive to the Big Smoke to see Collingwood play. When they lost, young Mick would shed a tear. But when they won, he'd give a running commentary on his heroes on the way home.
You want to do it for me now? Come on.
I was quite embarrassed, actually, but I was just sort of like, and was kicked out of the back line by Peter McCormack. Andy Island marked the ball. Looks out wide, finds Ricky Barham with a handball. Ricky Barham takes off, takes one bounce, assesses his options, takes two bounces, looks up forward again, runs again, takes three bounces, runs across the 50-metre line, kicks for goal and goals. Goal at Collingwood, you know, I used to just carry on and stuff like that.
Go the other way to Mickey McGuane. A set shot, 46 metres. It's a good-looking kick from Mick to goal.
Now it's Mick McGuane they're shouting for as he dashes down the field. And now he's a big chance to win the Brownlow and write his name in the history books.
In all honesty, Anne-Marie, I've never sort of thought about it. I naturally read papers and that, and there's been a lot of speculation that I might poll well and what have you.
As a betting man, what are you? What are your odds?
Oh, apparently I'm only 4 or 5 to 1, and I think a couple of my mates took the 33 to 1, and I'll be asking for 10%, I suppose, if I do win it.
It's been a long season, but McGuane is looking forward to the finals. He made a pact with a mate called Millane, and their dream of black and white success is still driving him on.
I think come finals time, if we can pull, you know, the premiership off for one particular guy, I think the guys would want to bond wholeheartedly to do that for him. And, you know, I know that there's a lot of guys down there solely focused to do that because a lot of the guys have gone off the drink, and basically the off-field antics that you can control to get small percentage things over your opponents or opposition, I think they're things that we have looked at, and we've done that for the sole reason we want to pull out the success of 1992 for one particular guy.
Anne-Marie Sparkman reporting there, an unabashed Collingwood fan and winner of the GTV9 tipping contest, so she's a good football person too. If you've missed the progress...
In Perth, the Eagles won the match with a brilliant first quarter, establishing